Alright guys, here it is. These are my breeder bins that I am starting from scratch again. Joe was kind enough to build these for me here and get all the bins and open them up, and we cleaned them and we put them all here ready to go. These bus bins are going to be a lot easier for me to carry as far as weight. So this is going to be better for me. I'm starting with the red wigglers here, and then European night crawlers, and I'm probably going to do my African night crawlers down there. I decided not to do the blues here, and I'll tell you why. In my past experience, putting blues next to any other type of worm, the blue always gets in the other bin. They are very clever. They're very hyper. They wiggle and they jump. Another thing that I had in the past happen, and I'm telling you these mistakes that I've made so you don't make the same ones, is this. See how these two bins are together? I've had red wigglers and I've had blues, and I have seen the line of castings go like this. So the blues were climbing out of here and going into this one. So now I had red wigglers and blues, and I had blues. So if people want to buy a mix, that's fine. But for some reason, people don't want the mixture, even though lately it's been coming around, and there's nothing wrong with having a mix. But if you're going to sell in your business pure red wigglers, you want to sell pure red wigglers, not reds with blues mixed. A lot of people are misleading people, and it's not ethical and it's not right. Sell them as mix. I'm sure there are people that would love to buy them. So obviously when that happened to me, I threw them all in the garden. Everyone went in the garden and I started from scratch. So this is how this is going to be set up. I cleared what I had here so Joe could move these in here, because this room for me, as you can see here, this room for me, and there's my new grinder, is more finished. I'm able to wipe the walls if I need to. Also, I'm able to expand this way if I need to, and this way. This room also has air conditioning in the summer. It has heat in the winter. The floors are wood, so they're easy to sweep and clean. You know, worm business, worm hobby, it's very messy. It is. Any worm person will tell you that, but I like to keep things clean. I don't know, it just makes me feel better about being in here, and I don't track the castings that I step on through my house, because I don't want to do that. If it's going to be messy, I'd just rather contain it in here, and then I'll take it from there. Let me show you some things that I'm going to use to sift out my worms. So this is how I sift out worms. I have my regular bus bin. I have this thing. It's a mortar bin for cement. And then Joe bought me this a few years ago. What I use this for is I make my garden mix in here. When I'm going to start my plants, this is wonderful to mix things in. And I love that this is higher at the back because it doesn't like roll off that way. So these are my sifters. This one is the smaller mesh where you could catch cocoons and little baby worms. And this one is a little bigger. This is not as big as a 1/4 inch. It's the one above it. Now this one is, it's called 2/18. And this one is 1/12. I got these on Amazon. They're not cheap, but they work and they're sturdy. The problem is, with me, is my hands, I don't have a good enough grip to do this for, for hours on end. I could do some, but not like a long time. So Joe is coming up with a plan to make me one with a motor so it vibrates, so I can sift that way and, separate everything just to make it easier on me. So that's how I'm going to do this. Let me show you you guys saw me build this thing with Joe, the new grinder. I always keep like little supplies here. Every once in a while, I try new brands of worm towel that I find on eBay just to see. So far, I've had good luck with all types of brands, but I like to make my own because honestly, it's more economical. As far as, you know, feeding all these guys. If I didn't have to feed all this, I'd probably make it anyway just to fatten my worms up, but commercial-wise, it's wiser to make your own chow and feed your bins, unless you get a great deal with a worm company, a chow company like, what are they called? Oh, I forget the name. Purina Worm Chow. If you could get a good price with them. I know it was about 10 years ago, I would get 50 pounds for $15. But I'm not sure if I could still get it for that price. So I did feed this for a while and the worms did well. It's Missouri, but I noticed that it wasn't fattening them up. So I'm probably gonna finish this and then I'm gonna make my own. So I wanted to give you a little look into my worm breeding life. So yeah, and I'll show you as I go along how I do this.
Mama?
And yes, honey.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Okay, bye.
You guys want to see my daughter? Come here.
No,
Come here.
I
Izzy,
think
come
I'll
here.
pass.
Come here. Come here. And I'm going to put the worms in there. Whatever it is I find, we'll see. Another great thing to use is to reuse your containers so they're not going in the landfill. So you can sift out your worms. So I know there's a lot of leaves and still little sticks and things in here, but we're gonna see. Just gonna see if there's any larger eggs in here or any larger worms. So far, I don't see any. So this is gonna be interesting. Okay, one. I have one. Obviously, this is not a mature worm because the catellum isn't there. You can kind of tell. If it were mature, it'd have the bump. So he's gonna go in there. We're just gonna keep going. Oh, there's another one. Oh, there's two more. Look. So the ones I'm finding are not adults. So they're gonna go in there. Look at this casting, guys. Oh my gosh, it is beautiful. And if there are any cocoons in here, they would be in here. Not here because the holes are too big. So here I don't see any worms. Oh, there's one. So obviously this has not finished processing. And I'm already seeing cocoons. See that little guy? So a cocoon, when it's freshly hatched, it looks like that. It looks like a little lemon and it's a pale yellow. When they're ready to hatch, they look more orange. I'm just gonna keep sifting. So this material that still needs to be eaten, I'm just gonna put it back in a starter bin for them. Normally I won't sift it when it's like this. I'll wait for them to finish. But with these Alaskan eyeworms, since I'm not sure what's going on in here, I figured let's just sift it and see what we get and start from scratch with them. And there is a lot of like young worms. Alright guys, so I took this container and I put half and half between both bins. I filled up this one with manure and I put half and half and so on. So I'm going to wet this down now and we're going to cover it and I'm going to date it and we're going to see what happens if those worms eat this stuff or will it kill them. I really hope it won't kill them. I don't think it will, but we're going to try. So here we are. This is how I set them up. These are going to be the experimental bins. If I were to set these bins up for breeding commercial, I would not use as many products. The least amount of different ingredients you use in your commercial bins, Obviously, the more profit you'll have when you sell them because you don't have to invest as much. Honestly, commercial breeders, if they're outside, their main ingredient is some kind of manure. Inside, a lot of people use peat moss. But we're going to start the experiment with these guys, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Now, I have some of that Missouri Chow here, and I'm just going to sprinkle it on top. I always leave the edges when I do like a trench feeding like this empty. In case the worms need to escape this, they'll have a spot to do it. Also, the bedding that I created for them is about, I would say, 4 inches deep. Usually bedding, when you want to get them to eat fast or multiply faster, should only be about 4 to 6 inches. And I'm going to let these touch because it's the same kind of worm. And we're going to see what's going to happen with this. I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more of these wormy experiments. And smash that little thumbs up. And I'll keep you guys posted. Thank you. Okay, so I added the chow on top. And I added about 1/8 of a teaspoon of this stuff. Now, this is granulated, which I have used it like that in the past. But I like to put this through my grinder and make it more of a powder. But it does work. It starts getting wet. It does work. I do see it disappear in my worm bin. So they will eat it. So until I could grind it, it's better than nothing. Another thing you could do is, if you have leftover eggshells, you guys eat a lot of eggs, I put this through the one of those hand blenders, and it made it kind of a powder, but not really, but it's still good to use. So what I do is I take the eggs and I crush them up, I rinse them, and I put them in the microwave for a minute, let them dry, and then I put them in here slowly, and I just crush them. I do leave this open so it can vent, just in case there's any moisture in here. You don't want it to build up any bacteria. And I also do this. But we don't eat that many eggs for the amount of bins that I have, so I have to buy it. Alright, so I'm going to date these guys, and then we'll check on them again. So here we are. The Alaska ice worms are here and here. These are the 2 cocoon and kind of young worms in here. I'll be starting another one there once they reproduce and I divide them. Let me give you another little tip. You see this medical tape? I had it lying around upstairs because, you know, raising 4 kids, there was a lot of, excuse me, a lot of scraped knees and things. So this medical tape, it's a good way to use it up. It sticks really well on the bins, and then you can write on it with a Sharpie, and then it comes off like really easy and doesn't leave a residue, which I love. That way, if I ever need to change this and use it for a different type of worm or something else, there you go. I have it. So we're gonna, today's September 12th. We're gonna check on these guys in 3 days. So today's Sunday. So Wednesday when I come home from work, we're gonna check these and see how they're doing. For now, I just put wet newspaper at the top. Normally I put plastic or burlap over this, but I ran out of burlap and I don't have any plastic. So we're gonna just leave it like this. It'll be okay because down here in the basement it's nice and cool. It won't dry up. So we'll check them in 3 days and I'll bring you back.